And here it is. After 2 years, we again see an RSV4 in South Africa. Now obviously, like all Aprilia superbikes, this was built for the racetrack. So we decided to bring it to the best racetrack in the world. And interestingly enough, it has traffic on it. This is a road in the province of Mpumalanga called the 22. It runs between the towns of Sabi and Hazyview. And like we said, it is the best racetrack ever. And the surface is grippy as you can imagine. It's got a few little bumps, but nothing too hectic. But what I really love about this place is how these corners work. They're just these long flowing corners, one after each other. And in terms of riding a motorbike, it's just spectacular. Okay, here's a little bit of straight. Yeah, hey. There are a few little straights, not really long ones, but a few little ones, and then you're back into the corners again. These lovely long corners, they're so, none of them hook and tighten up on you. They're all so predictable. It's all fairly flat, so there's no funny hills or funny blind rises, or very few of them at least. It's just so, I love being here, I love it. Now some of you might be doubting this claim because you've seen on Facebook or somewhere some nice aerial shots of these mountain passes in the Alps. But all of those passes, have a look at them closely, they zigzag up and down the mountain. So what you're doing is you're going down a short straight and then first gear into a hairpin, then short straight, first gear hairpin, short straight, first gear. It's the road equivalent of a go-kart track. Whereas this is like Phillip Island without the sea. The 22 follows the Sabi River and therefore meanders instead of zigzags, meaning 22 kilometers of fast-flowing, beautiful corners. So we have the best track, but why are we using the RSV4? More specifically, why are we using the RR and not the factory? Simple really, because it's cheaper. Where the factory makes use of an 1100cc V4 motor, the RR sticks with the traditional 1000cc. And with that, instead of the 217 horsepower of the factory, we get a more sedate 201 horsepower. But somehow, that might be a good thing. Right, so the motor on this thing isn't kind of the most beastly. I mean, 201 horsepower was brilliant. Even 5 years ago, we would have said, wow, brilliant. Today, yeah, it's a little down. But where this motor lacks in outright power, it makes up for in predictability. The way Aprilia structure this motor, I mean, even compared to other bikes that are 201 horsepower, it just seems so much kind of easier to use. The way you can use that power. Also that soundtrack, I mean, you open the throttle, you release the Kraken. It's not just the motor that's spec'd down, but the suspension consists of Sachs units, not Öhlins. Again, that's not the end of the world. Now when you're going down the Strait of Kyalami, you do 300 kilometers an hour and then you brake into a first gear hairpin. Now when you're braking there, you brake hard and the forks go all the way down to the bottom. They're compressed, they're dumped all the way down to the bottom. When you've got the Öhlins in the factory, it'll still work. Even when you've got them right down, you've got them slammed, you'll still be able to turn in and still feel confident. These forks, not quite the same. They're not quite as sophisticated as that. But here, the thing is, here on this road, it's all just one windy corner after the next. So you're never at that stage where you're slamming the suspension and really working it to the very nth degree. So you don't need it. You don't. Around here, I don't think that factory Öhlins suspension will feel much better. There goes my new knee slider. Oh, lovely. And of course Aprilia, I mean, they're all about chassis. You get so much confidence in an Aprilia chassis, the way it turns, how stable it feels. It's never trying to buck and weave, it just feels so good. I don't know how they make a chassis feel so light, while at the same time, so stable. It shouldn't happen. What the RR does have is electronics. All the electronics you can think of, and more so, the famous Aprilia electronics, fitting for races, especially the dash. The thing about this TFT dash is that it was built for racers, and I don't know if you've ever met a racer, but they're a bit thick. I mean, look at me. I've been racing for 26 years, so. The thing is about it is that if you want to adjust anything, I mean, even when you're stationary, on the fly, on the track, absolutely everywhere, all you need to do is hit this little joystick with your thumb, go to whatever setting you want to change, they're all here, then use the plus and minus on either side of the handlebar, and that's it. Anyone could do it. Now, can we get out of the sun, please? And so, there's a very specific reason that we're using both the 22 and this exact motorcycle. I swear I've ridden roads all over South Africa, all over the world, and yet every time I come here to the 22, there's just a special feeling that no other road has given me. I'm pretty sure there are other really great roads, maybe better ones than this. I've never been on one of them, and I'm not sure how much better it can get. This is my favorite place in the world, right here, right now. And this RSV4, I mean, we call this place a racetrack, and Aprilia say be a racer. Right now, I feel like a racer. I do. I'm being a racer. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Don has arrived back, and it looks very much like he's parked his bike in the Aprilia GP racing pits. Don, damn,
yes.
Damn, but
Did
it
that
was
look
quietly obvious that you enjoyed yourself and the bike.
You know what, I haven't been there for 2 years to that place, and it's you sort of forget about it. You kind of go, yeah, and then you go back there again, and yes, this is brilliant in every way. One day when I'm a billionaire, and I'm working towards it, don't worry, I'm going to make a racetrack. It's going to be like 20 kilometers long, and it's going to look something like that. I'm just going to take
South Africa's own
from
Nürburgring.
There we go. Except unlike like tight corners, it's just going to be lovely.
So anyway, enough of your happiness.
Yes.
Big claims. Perfect bike out there. Really, I mean, I'm a fan of the RSV, but really, I know you like your Ducatis.
Look, okay, the thing about the Ducatis is that they are, and I've said this before, a fast rider will be quicker on a Ducati. Okay? I think the Ducati is a faster motorcycle. But if you're not a fast rider, if you're sort of, you know, average sort of track rider, you know, sporty road rider, I think you may be quicker on one of these.
I think I would agree with you. Yeah.
I mean, I think Aprilia have kind of, okay, the RSV, the 1100 Factory is sort of track going, Öhlins suspension. This is sort of more, I think they've kind of aimed it more at the road going market. So they've kind of kept a very sort of broad power. Although there's some things I don't understand. I mean, my only criticism is that this doesn't have any sort of measure of how much fuel you have. Like no range meter, no fuel gauge.
It's got a trip meter.
Okay, I understand that we survived 100 years
Yes.
of no fuel gauges and stuff. He lived through most of them.
You've got to ride it once or twice maybe, and then you know how much you get to attempt. So
I
reset your
understand
trip.
it's a small criticism, but it's
Okay.
sort of a criticism nonetheless.
Anything else that you would...
This is something I love, and it sort of shows what they kind of aim this at. You've got rider modes.
Yes.
It's got 3 rider modes. They are sport, track, race.
So in other words, sportier and really, really, really
exactly.
sporty.
There's no stupid rain mode. There's no stupid touring mode. It's all about go fast.
Okay, you like that.
Then there's other thing they've got on this dash. They've got a Lien Sensor. Tells you what
Yes,
lean
very
angle
small
you're
lean angle sensor.
That's a very small lean angle sensor, and then a brake and a throttle kind of sensor. Sort of like what you see on MotoGP, which is fantastic for showing off in the pits.
Yes.
But when you're actually riding and doing lean angles, you're not going to look at that thing.
Well, if you do look at it, you probably...
You shouldn't be.
Yeah, you'll be looking at a hospital ceiling.
But then again,
shortly,
I'm thinking this is sort of the GoPro age, where that sort of, you stick a GoPro on it. Look at me, I got that far.
Of course, yeah, good point. Yeah, GoPro age. So overall, well, one thing we haven't mentioned yet, price.
Yes. Okay, this one is $297, which is a lot of money, but it, you know, it's a sort of something we're not quite used to. But it is okay. It's less than the Panigale V4, the non-S.
It's down 100 cc's, but the non-S.
Panigale V4, and the V4 is stronger motor and all that, similar kind of suspension and all that, stronger motors, but it is a bit cheaper than that. So that is perfect on the mark. It's a bit more expensive than all the Japanese. It's sort of...
It's Italian, you know.
But you know, it's Italian, it's Aprilia. Come now, you know.
I imagine then, just
right.
before we go to an ad break, you would recommend it pretty much wholeheartedly.
I would, yeah, especially for that kind of riding. The riding we were doing there, it's magnificent.
Wow. Not often you get Don so gushing. Come back after this short ad break and it will be my turn to ride an Italian bike.